Ramdin, who's having some back spasms, along with Suleiman Ben, who was a bit unfortunate as well. Taylor tried desperately again, but it was in the end Darren Powell who I thought at one stage there was a single offered. The ball before he was dismissed, he struck a ball wide to long on. Chris Gayle didn't take the single, and unfortunately, Keith, he was out the very next ball, caught spectacularly by Militharan. Should have Gayle taken the single?
Well, that has been a debate. Hindsight, Barry. He could have taken the single, and the next ball, his stumps could have been spread eagle. So it's easy to look back and say this or that should have been done. It's, you know, cricket, and these things do happen. All
right, the emails are coming in. As I said, you can send them to barry@line11.net. Our producer tells us we have some 7 emails in so far. Let's take in a couple emails and have a look at see what people are saying and what they are thinking. Of course, send it to barry@line11.net. That's our email address. Let's have a look at our first email. Is that ready? All right, here we go. Keith, this one is actually, this email is actually addressed to you. It says, Dear Mr. Holder, this is Mr. Collymore from Parishland Cricket Club. You are very good on stats and information, and I want to find out from you, when last can you tell me that 7 batsmen in the West Indies team have played and only 6 averaging under 30. Very interesting point.
well,
only 1 averaging over 40, which is Shivnai Chandapal. That's the email there from Mr. Fillmore Collymore, Parishland Cricket Club. Can you answer that, Keith?
Mr. Collymore wants to stump me, you know. He's really sending me down memory lane. The last time that 7 specialist batsmen would have played and 6 average over 30. Well, we have to go back to the heyday of West Indies cricket handy back in the mid-80s when we had the likes of Greenidge and Haynes, Richards, Caddy Turan, Gomes, those sort of guys playing, you know, in the middle to find the consistency of batsmen with averages over 40. If you look at that lineup, which I've just mentioned, I don't know if Handy off the top of his head may recall.
No, he wants the batsman that average over 40, or only 1 batsman averaging over 40?
Well, yeah, he said, can you tell him the last time that only 1 batsman averaged over 40?
Yeah, not that we played 7 batsmen, not that I can recall off the top.
I don't think it's ever happened when you really think of it.
Well,
but see, for a long time, Chandapal was, Sarwan went up to 40 just for a brief period.
So did the game, and then they dropped.
And then you would have had Brian Lara playing, who would have been only dipped below 50 for maybe a year or so. Yeah. So for a while we would have had 2 or maybe 3 batsmen averaging over 40. Let's take in another email. Of course, people are very abusive tonight, so we have to make sure that these emails are well vetted. I can't read that one that's in front of me for sure, which is addressed to you again, Keith. Henry, this next one is for you. It says, Dear Mr. Wallace, I realize that sometimes you sit on the fence too often. Is Chris Gayle the right man to captain the team, or isn't he? Please call it. Signed, Smith. Well, I would say that I don't necessarily sit on the fence. I try to bring some balance. And we don't always have all the information, so we're sometimes basing our opinions on speculation. I thought Chris Gayle did a good job when he was asked to fill in, but I think I've gone on record saying that I would have given the captaincy back to Ranveer Sarwan. He was groomed as a West Indies captain, and I felt that Chris Gayle stepped in, did a good job, as did Dwayne Bravo. And I always put the argument, if Dwayne Bravo had done an even better job than Chris Gayle, would we have given the captaincy to Dwayne Bravo? I think not. So my choice, to answer your email, is that I think Chris Gayle has done a reasonable job, but my choice would have been Ramnaresh Sarwan. No, Ramnaresh Sarwan, I hope that answers the question. Let's take in one more email before we look at the question of the night and also what we're going to look back at from last week. Hi Barry, I want to ask your guests what they think about the low-key response by the Guyanese fans for the first test and why there has been no advertising of the series. Additionally, it is my view that Sri Lanka should have played the first test in Jamaica where the conditions would not have suited them, and Australia the first test in Guyana. We are too kind to our touring team. Signed, Margaret Brathwaite. Answer that one, Keith. A very good point.
Barry, again, you know, these issues come up. Australia will play the first test in Jamaica, then move on to Antigua. You look at the fact that there are only 2 tests, and sometimes the West Indies board may consider the Asian background in terms of having fans coming out. It has happened with Pakistan and India in the past. The promotion, the advertising, it has been woefully lacking. At the same time, I think that sometimes media personnel do need to do much more. You shouldn't always depend on Digicel or the West Indies Cricket Board to be running ads on television. I think if you are a tough journalist, you would have a bill